Could the path be moving instead of blocked? There are seasons when life stops feeling like a road. A road gives you edges. It lets you pause at the shoulder, study the signs, choose a direction, decide whether you are ready to keep walking. Water gives you something very different. Water keeps moving while your thoughts are still trying to catch up. One conversation changes tone, then a plan slips out of reach. Without warning, a door closes with no clean explanation. Delay stretches until patience starts to feel less like virtue and more like exposure. Somewhere inside, almost quietly, your hands begin searching for something to hold. That is why this question lands with weight. Maybe the interruption you keep resisting is motion. Maybe the season refuses to stand still because God is teaching you to recognize His hand while the water is already carrying you. The mystery does not erase the pressure. It simply asks you to look at the pressure differently. A blocked path invites force. A moving path asks for discernment. The water may still be frightening. Faith does not ask you to rename fear as peace. Grief rides inside certain changes. Some delays feel personal, as though obedience has been answered by silence. Even sincere prayer can happen while your chest stays tight. You may trust God and still wish He would speak more plainly. You may believe He has a purpose and still feel weary when someone says that too quickly, as if a true sentence can automatically remove the ache. The mystery running through Scripture is that God often leads His people through movement they did not choose. Abraham was called out before he could see the whole map. Israel learned freedom in a wilderness that made no sense at first glance. Joseph was carried from a pit to slavery to prison long before he could recognize the mercy hidden inside the painful turns. The people of God rarely meet Him from a position of perfect control. They meet Him with dust on their feet, uncertainty in their bodies, and a future that keeps unfolding faster than their understanding. This is where resistance becomes subtle. Many of us want God to lead in a way that still lets us feel in charge. We enjoy the language of trust when the backup plan remains close enough to touch. We say we are waiting on the Lord while quietly rehearsing every possible outcome. We replay conversations, refresh possibilities, imagine what someone might do, measure the future cost, and search for the next sign as though certainty itself could save us. Responsibility is real. Planning can be wise. Yet fear can borrow the clothes of wisdom until gripping the rope feels spiritual. So the first movement of this video is simple, and it is uncomfortable. Notice what you are trying to stop. Name the change you keep bargaining with. Look at the timing you keep trying to accelerate. Pay attention to the person, outcome, answer, or apology you have been trying to pull into place by force. This question is not here to shame you. It is here to show you where your hands have grown tired. Picture a man beside a dark river with a frayed rope wrapped around his palm. The rope may have helped him for a while. It may represent effort, prayer, planning, endurance, wise counsel, or the discipline that carried him through a harder night. Nothing about the rope is automatically wrong. Yet now the current has become stronger than his ability to command it, and the fibers are burning into his skin. There comes a moment when holding on no longer proves faithfulness. Sometimes it only proves exhaustion. That image matters because it reveals the difference between control and trust. If the path is blocked, the instinct is to push, wait, negotiate, or search for a way around the obstacle. When the path is moving, the deeper prayer changes shape. It becomes, Lord, where are you leading me through this? Psalm 32:8 gives that prayer a promise. I will instruct thee and teach thee in the way which thou shalt go. That promise does not explain every wave. It does not make loss beautiful on command. It does not give you a map for the entire river. It turns your face from the thing you cannot command toward the God who has never lost His command. And that is where this first part has to leave us, at the edge of release, before the release itself. Surrender cannot be forced by a slogan. Nobody lets go deeply because a stranger says, relax. The grip loosens when the soul begins to believe that the hand of God is more faithful than the rope in its palm. Stay there for a moment. The current you feared may not be the evidence that God forgot you. The motion itself may be the classroom where He begins teaching you how to be led. The next step is harder. It is learning how to loosen your grip without calling it defeat. Loosening your grip does not mean you stop caring. That may be the first thing your soul needs to hear. Surrender is often misunderstood because it sounds like abandonment. It sounds like lying down in the road and letting anything happen. It sounds like becoming passive, silent, indifferent, or weak. But biblical surrender is not the death of responsibility. It is the death of pretending responsibility can become sovereignty. There is a difference between doing what God placed in your hands and trying to hold what only belongs in His. You can make the call, you can tell the truth, you can prepare wisely, you can apologize, you can wait with discipline, you can keep showing up. None of that is unbelief. Trouble enters when obedience starts wearing the costume of control. Prayer can quietly become an attempt to force the timing. Planning can become a polished way to avoid trusting the God who may lead you beyond your plan. So the question becomes quieter and much more personal. What is actually yours to carry? Leave aside what you wish you could carry. Put down the thing that would make you feel safe if only you could control it. Set down the fantasy that one more answer would finally make your chest unclench. What is yours today under God? The answer may be smaller than your anxiety wants it to be. Perhaps it is one honest conversation. Perhaps it is one boundary. Or maybe it is an apology, an application, a prayer, a night of rest, or one act of obedience that comes without a preview of the outcome. The enemy of surrender is not effort. It is ownership of the ending. This is why the river image from the first part matters. A man holding a rope beside moving water may still need his hands. He may need to steer, brace, breathe, listen, and watch the current. But if he mistakes the rope for God, the rope becomes a false savior. It promises stability while quietly burning through his skin. It gives him something to grip, but not necessarily something that can lead him. The Lord often teaches trust by separating our obedience from our demand for visible control. He may leave the water in front of us and teach us how to pass through it. Isaiah 43:2 gives the promise with almost frightening tenderness, "When thou passest through the waters, I will be with thee." Notice the shape of that promise. Waters may come, the current may move without asking permission. Some crossings may shake the body. Yet when the water is real, his presence is real. That changes the meaning of surrender. The rope is not being released into emptiness. It is being released before the God who is already present in the water. The outcome still matters, yet it no longer gets to be your master. Pain remains pain, and you do not need to baptize it with easy language. Refusing control means refusing to let pain become your God. The unknown may still feel heavy. Underneath that heaviness, faith confesses that the unknown is not unknown to him. This kind of trust is rarely dramatic at first. It can begin with taking your hand off the thing you check every hour. It can begin with refusing to rehearse the same imagined disaster before sleep. Sometimes it is one clear prayer, followed by allowing silence to remain silence instead of filling it with panic. Other times it is the next faithful thing, done without demanding that God explain the next 10. And this is where many people discover that surrender has a strange strength inside it. Control makes the soul small because it forces every possible future into the narrow space of your own imagination. Trust makes room again. It gives the future back to the one who can hold it without fear. So if part 1 left you at the edge of release, part 2 asks for the first movement. Open your hand a little. Not because you understand everything, not because you feel ready, not because the river has become gentle. Let the grip loosen because it has started to hurt more than the current. Release what you cannot command because God can lead it better than fear can hold it. There will still be choices to make. There will still be responsibility. There may still be grief, but the hidden question changes. You stop asking, "How do I force this into place?" and begin asking, "Lord, what is faithful right now?" That question will not give you control of the river, but it may give you something better. It may give you the first breath of peace inside the movement itself. There comes a moment when trust stops being beautiful language and becomes a door you either walk through or keep standing in front of. That is the intense part. The idea of trusting God can sound beautiful from a distance. Phrases can be shared, repeated, and admired. Comments can say the right thing beneath a video. Then the moment itself arrives. The room after the conversation ends. The night after the answer still has not come. The morning when nothing has changed, while something inside you knows you cannot keep gripping the same rope and call it faith. This is where surrender becomes frighteningly honest. The river may still be rough. Some wounds may remain unexplained. The future may refuse to become simple. Even there, the hand begins to open because control has reached its limit. It can no longer save you, comfort you, or tell you the truth. Control is a hard master. First, it takes your sleep, then it takes your imagination. After that, it reaches for the tenderness of your heart. Tomorrow has not arrived, and already control fills it with shadows. Then it calls the shadows wisdom. It calls the fear preparation. It calls the exhaustion realism. There is a kind of realism that forgets God. So now the question is not whether you are afraid. Of course you may be afraid. The question is whether fear gets to disciple you. Fear trains the body to tighten. It trains the mind to rehearse. It makes mercy look suspicious before mercy has even arrived. If you cannot see the entire path, fear insists the path must be unsafe. The Spirit of God teaches another way. He does not always shout over the storm. At times, he lets the storm reveal what you have been worshiping. Caution can harden into a chain. Discernment can hide inside delay. Waiting can slowly become refusal. Even protecting your heart can become a way of keeping God from healing it. This is an invitation with weight, because peace is not found by controlling enough outcomes to finally feel safe. Peace is found when God becomes more real to you than the outcome. That sentence is easy until the outcome matters. It is easy until the person matters. It is easy until the diagnosis, the door, the timing, the apology, the future, or the loss stands in front of you with a name. Then peace becomes costly. Then trust becomes worship. Psalm 46:10 says it with holy force, "Be still and know that I am God." That stillness has nothing to do with laziness or denial. It is the trembling silence of a soul that stops arguing with the throne. The hands open while the waters remain, because God is God there too. So imagine the river again. The current is stronger now. The sky is darker. The rope is soaked, heavy, and cutting into the palm. Every instinct says, hold tighter. Every anxious thought says, if you release this, everything will fall apart. But beneath the noise, another voice is asking a deeper question. Who told you that your grip was holding the world together? That question may break something open, because the world was never held together by your grip. Your life was never sustained by your ability to imagine every danger. Your future was never protected by your exhaustion. God has carried you through things you did not understand while they were happening. He has preserved you through unseen mercies. He has closed doors you once begged him to open. He has delayed answers that would have destroyed you if they arrived too soon. He has led you when you thought you were only surviving. And now he is not asking you to become careless. His invitation is freedom. Freedom begins to sound different here. Obedience can move without owning the ending. Rest stops feeling like irresponsibility. You can name grief without turning it into an idol. Hope takes a breath before any guarantee appears. The prayer becomes simple. Lord, I do not know where this current goes, but I know you are not absent from it. This is the final movement. Open both hands. Not one hand, while the other secretly clutches the rope. Not a poetic surrender that keeps a hidden backup altar. Both hands. The thing you cannot force, the timing you cannot speed up, the person you cannot change, the outcome you cannot secure, the explanation you may never receive, the future you keep trying to rehearse into safety. Both hands. And when they open, you may not feel immediate relief. The water may still move. The unanswered thing may still be unanswered. But something holy begins in the soul that stops confusing control with faith. A breath returns. The chest loosens. The silence is no longer empty. The current is no longer proof that God has forgotten. It becomes the place where you learn the sound of his nearness. Let him lead. Not because you are unafraid, because he is worthy while you are afraid. Not because the plan is visible, because the planner is faithful. Not because the river is safe in itself, because the hand of God is stronger than the rope you are afraid to release. And if tonight you are standing at that edge, tired from gripping, tired from rehearsing, tired from trying to be your own shelter, then let this be the prayer. Lord, I open my hands. Through what I cannot control, carry me. Teach my body the stillness that obeys without going numb. Let trust rise before sight arrives. Lead me forward even when the path itself begins to move.